everybody, and this is my little bee tutorial. I'm going in with 2 coats of Come What May from Magpie Beauty. I've cured it and I'm going in with Prep and Dehydrate to wipe off the tacky layer. I'm then going to use the inkies in yellow and in black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them onto a palette and I'm going to get a brush, and I'm using Magpie's acrylic 3D brush. And I'm going to get it wet in Prep and Dehydrate, and I'm actually going to dab it onto the nail. And I really like doing this with the inkies because you get a really pretty watercolour effect with it. And I find that using the point from the acrylic 3D brush, it just gives it a really nice effect. So I'm going to go on and I'm going to draw the outline of my bee to begin with. I'm also using the gel paint, not the gel paint plus, the black gel paint itself. So as you can see, I'm dabbing on the yellow at the moment. I'm just going to shape it until I'm happy. I do wet the brush every now and again in the Prep and Dehydrate, just to lighten it. And you can go in and add more if you want a bit more depth to it. I was just quite happy with it, just sort of being the base colour, if that makes sense. I wasn't too worried about like the depth to the inky as such. So once I was happy with this, you go in with a layer of Give Me Strength. You have to float it over. If you go straight in, you press your brush right down, you'll smear all of that inky, and you don't want to do that. You just have to float it over gently and then cure for 60 seconds. See, lots of fiddling around really. So this is going in with the Give Me Strength. And then you wipe back over with Prep and Dehydrate to paint over the top. So I'm going in with the black gel paint here. And I'm just starting to dab in little lines onto the bumblebee to give it some fur, because we all know when we see bumblebees, they're big, fat and furry things, aren't they? So just trying to give it a little bit more depth to the inkies. I suppose you could probably do it with the inky as well, but I like the effect with the gel paint. The reason I use gel paint rather than the gel paint plus is because it is that little bit runnier and it's not as thick brown, if that makes sense. So I just went over all the black with it. And then I started adding in little bits onto the yellow part just to give it a bit more depth again, just lightly. I'm using the Magpie Detailer brush this whole time. If you wanted it to be a little bit thinner, you could use the striper brush. I'm just starting to draw the legs. And then once I'm happy with how it looks, I'm going to go in with some Give Me Strength. And then after I've done that, I'm going to wipe it. And I am going to quickly give it a quick buff, because what I'm going to do in a moment, and I'm doing them right now, is drawing the wings. So I want to add some Pandora chrome to the wings. So to make sure that it's not going to stick on the rest of the nails, I just have to give it a quick buff over the top of the bee nail art, so it's completely matte. Otherwise it will stick. That always happens. But I'm just painting the wings out where I want them. Really, I didn't have to do the other 2 legs. I drew 4 legs and I didn't have to because I completely covered them up with the wings. So don't make that same mistake as me. So I'm just going in with the white gel paint, nice and smooth, to make the wings. And then I also add a little bit of white to where the black little lines are, just to add a little bit more depth to it. Almost like when you see a bumblebee and it's out on the flowers and it gets like little dewdrops all over it. So after that's done, I cure it for 60 seconds. And then I just rub the Pandora in. Usually I use my silicone tool. This time I couldn't be bothered. Hasn't got to be perfect. So once that's done, brush it off, and a layer Give Me Strength over the top. And again, cure for 60 seconds. Now I'm going in with the Gel Paint Plus. Sorry, I go out of shot quite a lot on this because I'm trying to keep it in the camera line. It's very hard to see what you're doing. So I'm just outlining where I want the wings. Obviously remembering that there's 2 sets of wings per side. It's very different from when you're doing a butterfly. You haven't got to be as elaborate around the outside or all the other little bits. It is just the little segments. But I really liked using the Pandora Chrome in this because I felt like it gave it that extra, like something extra special on it. I do love bees, they're so pretty. And then I just go in and divide the wings up. And again on the other side. There is no pattern to this at all. I literally just did squiggles on what I thought looked okay. This was my second attempt. I did get rid of one. I wasn't happy with it. That's a great thing about working in gels. You can just wipe it off. And then I'm just adding a little bit more to the face because I wasn't happy with how sort of smooth it looked. So just adding a little bit more black fluff. And you can just add to it as you want to. And then I used like a diamond top coat for this. It's one of my favourite ones. You do need to cleanse it with Magpie's cleanser because it has got a tacky layer, but it is so shiny and it stays shiny. It doesn't like disappear. So there you go. That's my little bee tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for watching.